Okay guys, continuing with the second video for Module 8, putting those Photoshop navs into Dreamweaver. We made the Photoshop document, made all the slices for the different navs, all the different states, and they are now in your images folder, inside your root folder. You probably won't have these pages yet. I did these to do a test. I'm going to go into my index page and show you how to put these navigational graphics to use in there. So here we go. Well, first a demo of where we're going with all this, actually. I'll preview this in Firefox. And we've got rollover states. For the A, you'll have 4 pages marked with a little something in the title at least to show me which page I'm on right away. I've got Aruba, Jamaica, Bermuda. Oh, that's a short page. And we've got Bahamas, and those all kind of navigate to one another like that. So how did we get there? This is my index page, which I just titled with my first title. And I put this nav bar in here. Now you'll notice as I click on each one, down here in my Properties Inspector, it has a name here in this ID field. That's something we haven't done too much with lately. We've dealt with source for the image. You click to, click up to Insert Image up here, and that puts it in as your source, and usually it's something short like this, images/aruba_u.gif. They're all in that images folder. We've done a link. Once you've got a graphic selected, you can either write, type, or link to a link, or navigate to a link here. And we've certainly done alt tags. Alt tags are in plain language. The link is exactly as it would appear in HTML. If it's linking to an outside site, you need the full http://www, etc. If it's linking to something within your root folder, you just need the name.html typically, unless it's hidden within an additional folder inside your root folder. This name is another one of these lowercase, no spaces, no funny characters. It's a name that Dreamweaver will use to identify this graphic, this image. And here's our full set for this image Aruba. It's in sidebar 1, and it's got an href, that's the link to the page that it's linking to, the target. If we were linking to an outside website, it might be target blank right here. Now here's the tricky part with the rollovers. There's a little bit of script that gets written in here. On click, NB group, that's the script part. Down group 1, Aruba, there's our name again. Aruba refers in the script, refers to that name. Images/aruba_d.gif. So on down, this graphic called Aruba is swapping out. It's doing a swap image with down, aruba_d.gif. On mouse over Aruba, etc. It swaps out with these other images. And on these different commands, on mouse over, on mouse out, on click, the image that we called Aruba as its ID swaps out with another image, a swap image and a swap image restore. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at Dreamweaver's automated ways to put in a rollover image and to put in this entire nav bar, all in one smooth operation. But to do that, sadly, I'll need to get rid of my nav bar in my demo. And with one little click, I've selected it, with one little click, it's all gone. It's all gone. There's my sidebar. None of that stuff is in there anymore. There's a lot of different ways we can put these things in here. I'll start off with the basic ones, and then I'll move to the automated ones that you'll probably enjoy using. I can insert an image, and I'll navigate to my images folder there in my root folder, navigate to that images folder, and I'll get Aruba_U, right? That's my upstate, my normal state, upstate Aruba_U. There's my nice short little URL. It wants the alt text. I've been putting in nav to the Aruba page. Oops. It'll help if I spell it correctly. Nav to the Aruba page. That tells someone who's using a browser that describes things for them, tells them exactly what this thing's going to do. And I'll click OK. And there it is. There's my graphic. And if I put a link in there, you know, index.html, then when I preview that in Firefox, yeah, I'll save that. There it is, and I roll over that and it gives me the pointing finger. Cool, I know it's a link. Actually, right now it's linked to itself, so I'm not going to bother clicking on it. What's this border thing that's around here? It's got a blue border on it. Some browsers will do this by default. You can alleviate that by going into your properties inspector and just typing border 0. And I'll save. There we go. Border's gone. Still got a link. Cool. But it didn't do anything when I rolled over it. Now, kind of the old-fashioned way, the really old-fashioned way to do this is to write some JavaScript that does your rollover. Dreamweaver for a long time has had something called a behaviors palette, or behaviors panel. Let's see, that's right here under Window, Behaviors. There it is. And with this image selected, and about now, I'll want to name it Aruba, because here's what happens if I try and start adding behaviors without that. The behavior I want is called swap image. And so on a certain event, like on mouse over, we're going to swap images, this one for our overstate. Here's what happens if I don't have anything in that ID field. It just says unnamed image. Okay, you're doing a site that has, you know, a dozen different graphic links over here maybe. This would be a bad idea. You'll want to know which images you're swapping out, and you'll want something in, you know, somewhat understandable language that gives you an idea of what image it is. So let's do that. Let's type in Aruba. Aruba. Again, lowercase, no spaces. Keep it computer friendly, browser friendly, script friendly, but make it something that is understandable for you, the human operator. Now I'll go in here and add behavior, which the one we want is a swap image. There we go. Swap image. Image Aruba. There's something I can understand. And I'll browse for the image that I want to swap. So on mouse over, I want to swap Aruba_O. I'll choose it. I'll preload images, and yes, I do want to restore images on mouse out. In other words, when I mouse over, it's going to swap this. When I mouse out, when my mouse is not over top of that graphic that says Aruba anymore, it's going to restore the old image. Cool, that's exactly what we want. There we go. So here's that behaviors panel, that tag inspector. And let's save and preview. Preview. There we go. We'll hit refresh just in case. There we go. And it's got, when I roll over it, it's got that nice, neat rollover on there. Cool. And if I were to click, it would take me to the link, but I'm linking back to this page. Okay. That's one way. That's kind of the old-fashioned way. And then you could sort of go in here and hit return and sort of start stacking these up, if you will. But let's not do that, and let's get rid of this whole thing. See, here's the HTML that it wrote in there, and but I'll just get rid of that right now. And here's a little bit more automated way to do that. Oops. Let's see. I deleted a little bit too much there. I'll select it that way. There we go. Now I've got a place to click on and put my new one. The next step in automation is to go up to the insert palette, or sorry, insert panel, and get, rather than image, get rollover image. And now you can place your up state, you can place your over state, you can name it, give it an ID, give it an alt tag, give it a URL to go to, all in one convenient little dialog box. Pretty slick, huh? So I know this is going to be my Aruba graphic. I'm going to browse for my up state. There it is, _u, up state. This is where these really come in handy. Again, nothing magic within HTML about naming an image with these _o, _u, but it really comes in handy for your own sanity. And what rollover image do we want? Okay, I'll browse for my up state. There it is, Aruba _u, up. Oops, sorry, I'll browse for my over state. Hello. I've got my up state. That up is the plain one. O is the over state, Aruba _o. All right, preload rollover image. Yes, that means while my page is loading, it's preloading this little 12K GIF file here for my overstate, so that by the time I've started to read the page and I actually mouse over it, it's right there, right now. I can put in my alt text. Let's see, nav to the Aruba page. Okay. And when clicked, go to index.html, because this is my first page of these four. Kind of weird to have a subject this specific on your index page, maybe, but I'm only dealing with 4 pages, and this is index. So there it is. And I'll click OK. Pow! There is my image. Here is all that HTML that it took me several steps to do, and going into a couple of different dialog boxes. It's all here in one smooth operation. And let's save and preview, and it does pretty much the same thing. Mighty, mighty slick. It gets better. I'll select this. That'll go away. Put my cursor back in sidebar 1 here. That's where I want my nav graphics ultimately. It gets better. Here under Insert, hello, under Insert, there we go. We can go to the Images item here and click the little arrow to get our drop-down menu. Not only can I do the image or the image and its rollover and all that other stuff, I can do a whole navigational bar, pardon me, and deal with multiple navigational images, all one-stop shopping. Here's this bar. It comes sort of preloaded with some information for one name of one navigational graphic. That'll be Aruba. This is my ID. So down in my Properties Inspector, what we would have seen where it said ID before, there it is, it'll say Aruba. And I can browse and get my upstate, browse, get my overstate, and likewise with my down state. So that's when I've rolled over it and I'm actually pressing down on the mouse. That's the down state. And then this over while down, if I press the mouse already and I happen to roll over that with a downward pressed mouse, then I get this OWD state. I can put my alt text in here. Nav to the Aruba page. And this should be plain language. Upper lowercase is fine. I happen to type in lowercase. If you're a stickler for grammar, we could certainly type in Aruba. I think it'll be pronounced the same either way. When clicked, go to index.html. Okay. Now, I could click OK, but I can add more. Just click the little plus sign, add another item, Aruba, Jamaica. Again, element name, in other words, this is the ID that would appear down in the Properties Inspector. Lowercase, no spaces, please, right here. Computer friendly, script friendly, HTML friendly, lowercase, no spaces. And then we browse for all of our states. Let's see, Jamaica, right? Up state, our down state, D. This is, hello, sorry, upstate, and the next was overstate. Overstate, there, O. There we go, now we're on track again. Now the downstate, we want D. Let's scroll down to Jamaica, of course. And the over while down. There we go. Alternate text, nav to the Jamaica page. Okay, when clicked, go to Jamaica.html. Spell it right? Yeah. Okay. Spelling is a big deal. Not necessarily accuracy of spelling, but consistency of spelling. If I'm spelling Jamaica on my page, then I, of course, want to have all my links that way. And it helps just for your own sanity if you spell it correctly all the way through. Very important. Very, very, very important. Sometime before we click OK and add this thing, you want to choose vertically or horizontally. Insert vertically or horizontally. Vertically, these navs are going to be stacked on top of one another. Horizontally, they're going to be side to side. I'm in my sidebar. I definitely want them vertically. If I were in, maybe a header, horizontally. This is a big, big deal, because if you don't get this one right, you pretty much got to start all over with this insert navbar thing. That's a very big deal. These you could come back and edit. This one, not so much. So vertically, be sure that you've got that. Okay, we're going to keep adding Jamaica, Bermuda, and then we click to get all of our various states here. Bermuda up, Bermuda over. That one's been a little tricky for me today. Be sure and match these up. Over, over, yeah. Down, Bermuda, D, and over while down. There it is. That one's easy to spot. Alt text. Now to the Bermuda page, browse. Actually, I won't browse. In theory, I've not made these pages yet. Bermuda.html. Still vertical. This is all one-stop shopping. Once you choose vertically, it's there. Just make sure that before you click OK, vertically or horizontally is the way you want it. And I don't think there's anything in the assignment that specifies vertical or horizontal, so you figure that out, whatever fits with your page. But here's where you specify it, and you kind of need to get it right the first time. We'll add for that one last set of navs, and that was Bahamas. Bahamas. And this is the ID name. Again, all lowercase, no spaces. And then just put in all of our states. There we go. Bahamas, and then the over, O, state down with a D, and OWD. Okay, nav to the Bahamas page. Okay, click the URL, bahamas.html. Okay. You can choose to use tables or not. In my case, I've got this nice little sidebar here. It's going to constrain their width. They're not going anywhere. Don't really need a table for this one. They'll just kind of stack on top of one another, but within the constraints of my sidebar. So I think we're good to go. Pow! There they are. Nice. Looks good. I can even delete that last return. Okay, let's save and check them out. Okay, look looks great. Now about this time, if these are kind of working the way you want, and you can go through here in your Dreamweaver page and check those links. Make sure that the links are spelled the way you want them to be, because right now you can edit them and just edit them once. Bermuda, Bahamas.html. Yeah, looks good. About now, you could go ahead and save this page. Save right there, which I have, and you could do a save as and then name it with your other pages and put them in there. In my case, I've done that already, and so let's see how everything works together. When you save your pages, you'll want to do two things. Like here on the Jamaica page, type that word Jamaica here, you know, whatever titles you are using for your page. It might be, you know, breeds of dogs. It might be members of your favorite rock band. I don't know what. But on the page for this topic, Jamaica, put a title there, and then, or rather put a headline there. I'm getting ahead of myself. And then put a title up here, like I've got nav exercise dash Jamaica. And we'll be good to go. Do that on each page. And then you can test it out. There's Aruba, Jamaica, and as I click, as that mouse goes down, you'll see that little blue flash, Bermuda. That's a short page. And Bahamas. And you'll see up top here in my browser window, there's my new title for each page. Okay. That's about it. Those are the methods you can use. You know, first we looked at putting an individual graphic in there, going into this behaviors panel in the tag inspector, and that's available under window behaviors right there. Going into that behaviors panel and doing a swap image. Of course, that's when you click the little plus sign to add a behavior, and the one you would want is swap image. I won't do that because we've got it already, and if you try putting another set in there, it confuses things badly. But that's kind of the old-fashioned way, sort of within Dreamweaver. And the newer way was to go here in the insert bar, get insert images, and you could do insert rollover image if you just wanted an image and a rollover. And then you could kind of hit return and stack them there. Or if you've got all your images ready, all 4 states, why not go navbar? You know, each page can only have one navbar, and one already exists. Would you like to modify this one? If you had something to edit, this would be the way to go. And it takes you right back to the other one. You can edit pretty much anything that's on here, except the vertical and horizontal choice. It's gone. You've made that choice already. That ship has sailed. But anything you can add or subtract any of these images, you can adjust, you know, browse to a different, if you were like me and you got the O state and the up state mixed up, and it shows up, you know, when you tested it out, showed up and looked embarrassing, you can swap those out here right now. This is just such a great way to go. It really is. And hope you enjoy it. Hope this assignment comes easily and quickly. For those of you that find this as a piece of cake, or if you're a Photoshop maven, do something really cool in here. Surprise me. Challenge yourself. It'll come in handy as we get to the more beefy assignments here in just a couple of weeks. So that is our second of the 2 videos this week. Enjoy.